Morning, morning, morning. Namaste. And breathe. Hope everyone is okay, and the practice I have to offer today I think will be quite a fluid, moving practice. It's hard for me to gauge because obviously I'm not with you. Normally when I'm in the room I can gauge from the energy of people in the room as to what to offer. So I can only go by how I'm really feeling, which is maybe a bit selfish, I don't know. And I, for me, just need to keep the energy flowing, whatever the energy, whether that be a suppression of energy where I feel I can't be bothered, or manic productivity where I just want to get things done, to frustration. So I intend to offer something that hopefully will keep it moving. So almost like a moving, we'll just allow the energy to flow through us and to allow our systems to do whatever they need to do without any input from my brain, from our brains, if that makes sense. So that being said, the invitation now to come to a seated, comfortable position, either cross-legged or kneeled. Kneeling, kneeled, I don't think there is such a word. We'll just take the shoulders up to the ears, roll the shoulder blades down the back. Gently closing the eyes, or if that's not comfortable, you can just soften the gaze, maybe taking the gaze to the tip of the nose or down to the floor. Feeling free just to move the neck and checking in and seeing how everything is feeling this morning. Maybe just moving the hands. And then coming to a point of stillness where we'll bring the attention now on to the breath. So just relaxing the jaw so the teeth aren't clenched. Space on the forehead nice and relaxed. So maybe just moving the eyebrows. I find that helpful to move the eyebrows because sometimes I have the default setting of scowling. Wiggling the jaw. And just becoming aware of the breath. So just a couple of breaths, natural breaths, just bringing awareness now onto the chest. And we're just observing. Observing maybe where the breath is coming from. Observing the thoughts in the mind. Observing if you're feeling any tension, it's specifically in the shoulders at this stage. And the way to calm everything down is through the breath. So we're not going to change anything in the mind or the thoughts, not stopping any thoughts, taking judgment out of this. But just lovingly bringing the awareness onto the breath. And the invitation now to deepen the breath a little bit. So maybe placing a hand onto the belly just to encourage the breath, if it's available, from that deep. Maybe it will take a bit of coaxing to slow everything down. So as we inhale, just watching and observing the chest gently rising up, feeling the breath, maybe going through the nostrils, feeling an expansion in the chest, and we're going to follow the breath all the way to the top of the head. And at the top of the inhale, coming down for an exhale, and just noticing the ribs gently lowering. Inhaling again. just feeling a sense of expansion coming into the chest. The shoulder blade, the shoulder clavicle, collarbone slightly rising up. Taking the breath all the way to the top of the head. And at the top of the exhale, maybe pausing momentarily before beginning the exhale. Maybe being aware of the shoulder blades dropping, softening down. Continuing with another breath in. And feeling maybe a lightness coming in as you inhale. And energy coming into the body. The chest is rising. Everything feels like it's going upwards. Following the breath to the top of the head. And the exhale, the invitation now through the breath to soften the shoulders. And a sense of energy going down into the floor. Maybe feeling it coming out the sitting bones, being aware of the bottom placed on the floor. So feeling the chest expand with the inhale. Feeling yourself getting taller maybe as you inhale. A lightness coming into the body. Going all the way, the breath to the top of the head. And gently with the exhale. Feeling a softness maybe. And inhaling again, in fact, taking a couple more rounds of breath. And invitation maybe to go at your own pace and in your own time. And really see if you can mindfully feel the subtle changes in the chest as you inhale. The movements of the ribs, maybe the collarbone turning up, smiling sweetly. Maybe energetically feeling a difference. And the exhale, just the softness now that comes into the body. And then when you come to the end of the exhale of the particular round that you're on, just gently blinking the eyes open and just giving yourself a moment to adjust the senses, the eyes, the light that's coming in being reflected. Maybe rolling the shoulders. Pumping the hands, and then just bringing the hands down onto the lap. We'll just begin with a seated warm-up. I can't see because the sun's in my eyes. So being aware of the sitting bones into the mat and respecting the natural curves of our back. So we're not uber straight, but just straight enough. The head just sitting nicely at the top of the spine, so the chin not sticking out, nor is it tucked in. And we'll take the arms out to the side, spreading the fingers, the palms facing up. Inhale, take the hands up, lightly touching the fingers. Exhale, palms down. Inhale, taking the arms up again. Taking the gaze to the ceiling, and exhale. One more. Inhale, reach through the hands. Stretching up, and then exhale. Bringing the hands now onto the shoulders. As we inhale, start to roll the shoulders and the elbows. So taking the elbows out to the front, bringing the elbows as close as you can together. Inhale, pointing the elbows up to the ceiling. The exhale, gently taking them behind, all the way down. One more. Inhale, taking the arms, the elbows up. Exhale, rolling. One more. Inhale, coming up. And maybe bringing awareness now onto the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, maybe you can feel something going on there, just being aware of the movement coming in. So we'll take it the other way now. So the elbows coming out to the back. Maybe squeeze the shoulder blades together as we take the elbows up. Exhale, bringing the elbows as close as you can together. All the way up on the inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale, up. Take the gaze. Exhale. All the way down. Just release the hands now. Arms pointing out to the side. Just checking that the shoulders are actually plugged in where they're supposed to be, so they're not leaning forward. So the shoulders aren't rolling forward. So just roll the shoulders back. Palms facing down, pointing the fingers out as much as you can. And then lifting the fingers up, pointing them to the ceiling, pushing through the heel of the hand. Inhale deeply. Exhale, slowly taking the hands so the fingers now pointing down. One more. Inhale, taking them up. Fingers all the way to the top. Exhale, taking them down. And then each finger individually coming up, stretching and bringing them in to the palm. And we'll just bring some movement now into the wrist. Still keeping the arms quite active by stretching through the arms, rolling one way then the other. And then bringing the elbows into this wiggle of a dance. Remembering to go one way and then the other. Lastly, the shoulders. They might be getting a bit tired, so you might be relieved to do that. So just the invitation to explore the movement. Moving round, back, down. However you feel. Just bringing the joints into the equation. And then bringing the hands now onto the hips. Awareness of the sitting bones deeply rooted into the floor. So we're going to inhale. As we inhale, lifting the chin up, the gaze coming up. We're just bringing the hands now to the lower part of the back, the elbows together. As you exhale, bringing the hands down the thigh towards the knees. Start to arch, roll the spine, bringing the chin now towards the chest. Inhale again. Arms coming up, hands lightly coming to the small of the back. Take the head up. Exhale. Bringing the chin now towards the chest. Just one more inhale coming up. Exhale. Chin to the chest, pulling the belly in towards the spine, rolling the shoulders forward. And then just coming up to a neutral spine. Take the left hand, placing that onto the ground. Inhale, taking the arm up, just reaching over. You can bend that arm. Maybe take the gaze up to the ceiling. Exhale all the way down. Inhale, the other arm coming up. Exhale all the way down. Right hand onto left knee. Inhale, imagine the spine is lengthening, pulling you up, and just gently taking the gaze over the shoulder on the exhale. Have another breath there. Inhale. And then exhale. Slowly bringing the hand round to the other side as we inhale, lengthening through. And exhale, softening down. Coming back to center now. And just start to walk the hands out. Don't worry how far you go at this stage. So bringing the forearms now down onto the floor. Just pausing there. Just lowering the head slightly. Inhale. Feel the chest expand. Exhale. Soften. And we're just going to walk the hands over to the right. Inhale again. Exhale. And then slowly taking the arms all the way over to the other side. Inhale. And exhale. And then just walking the hands back to the center. We'll come up to a seated position. Removing the pillow or the block, whatever you may be sitting on. And we're now going to come to a tabletop position. So again, elbows stacked over the wrists, hips stacked over the knees. And we're just going to take the hips now from side to side. Being careful of the knees. If you need to put a blanket or something under your knees, please do if your knees are quite vulnerable. Spreading the fingers into the mat. So the breath slow. And maybe the movement in line to the breath. And almost as if, imagine you've got a tail going on coming out of the sit bones there, out the sacrum. And we'll just bring a bit of swagger now into that movement. Inviting the shoulders to come in as well. So moving the shoulders, one shoulder going forward. And then going the other way, which is actually quite hard. So bringing some movement. So bringing the bottom now down towards the heels, stretching the hands, the forehead down to the mat, taking an inhale there. Exhale, let out a sigh. And then as you inhale, we're slowly going to bring the body up, the weight transferring onto the fingers and the palms, slowly coming forward, dropping the pelvis towards the floor, taking the gaze up. And then coming back, taking the bottom all the way down to the heels. So inhale, coming up. Pelvis now coming along onto the floor. Or just hovering above and then taking the bottom all the way down. Coming up again, one more. Feeling a stretch, fingers into the mat, and exhale, coming back. And just pausing there in a moment for the child's pose, taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, letting out a sigh. And then coming back up onto tabletop. Again, just checking the alignment. As we inhale, we're going to take the left leg out behind us on the exhale. Toes are pointing down, reach through the heel. Inhale, bringing the knee up to the center of the chest now, bringing the chin towards the knee, belly into the spine. Exhale, taking the leg out, stretching through the heel. Inhale, bringing the knee into the center and the forehead or the chin towards the knee. Exhale, taking the leg out. Then the opposite arm, the right arm's going to come out, the thumb pointing out. I'm not sure you can see me all the way, the camera's not very good. So the thumb is pointing up to the ceiling, palm facing towards the midline of the body. Inhale there. As you exhale, we'll bring everything into the middle line. Inhale, taking the leg out. Exhale. Inhale one more time. And exhale. So coming now onto the other side, again feeling free just to shake the wrists if they're feeling a little bit tired, but just remember the alignment as you bring the hands back to the mat. So inhale, taking the opposite leg out now. The toes are pointing down towards the floor, rooting through the heel, so pushing out through the heel. Inhale. Exhale, bringing the knee towards the chest and the head towards the knee. Inhale, taking the leg out. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. So the opposite arm comes out now with the thumb pointing up. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Take a deep breath there. Exhale, bringing everything into the midline. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale again. And exhale. And then coming back to a neutral stance, we'll take the knees a little bit wider, the big toes touch, bottom down to the heels. We'll just take the arms out the forehead now, down to the mat. Gently rolling the forehead onto the mat, backwards and forwards. Maybe just pumping the hands, so making fists and stretching through the hands. Taking a deep breath, and as you exhale, just let out a sigh. One more inhale. And then exhale. And the next inhale, lifting up the head, we'll come back into a tabletop. This time the left leg, bending the left leg, so bringing the left leg up. The toes are flexed. Just pausing there for a moment, feeling the stretch there, maybe in the Achilles, down in the calf. We're just going to then start to make a circle motion with the hip. So bringing movement into the hip a couple of times one way and then the other. So keeping the toes flexed as much as you can, for as long as you can. And then keeping the knee bent, the knee pointing out, the foot pointing up towards the ceiling. We've got the left leg raised, the right arm, we're going to bring the right arm behind and maybe grabbing hold of the ankle or the top of the foot, pushing into the hand, pulling the belly in towards the spine. Couple of breaths, and then slowly release. Knee down to the floor, again shaking that wrist if it feels a bit tired. Over to the other side. So bending the knee, the foot is flexed, the sole of the foot pointing up to the ceiling, and we're just going to make a circle motion with the hip. A couple of times one way, and then going out the other way. And then sole of the foot pointing up towards the ceiling. We'll take the left arm now and grabbing hold of the right foot, the right ankle, pushing the foot into the hand, pulling the belly in towards the spine. Couple of breaths. And then gently bringing the knee down, big toes touching, knees out wide, bottom down onto the heels. We'll come out into a child's pose, stretching that out, feeling maybe the breath coming up onto the face as you inhale and exhale. And then we're going to transition now, coming into a downward dog. So curling the toes, taking the bottom all the way up towards the ceiling, having a generous bend in the legs. We start to paddle out the feet. So just being aware that the pressure's into the fingers, the tops of the palms underneath, and the heel of the wrist. Bringing some movement now, the hips, transferring the weight a little bit onto the hands. So making a circle maybe with the pelvis, going round one way and then the other. And then a generous bend in the knees. The toes are parallel, the feet quite a bit apart, you don't want them too near. Having a bit of stillness, pushing the tailbone up towards the sky, back nice and straight, head, neck nice and relaxed as we inhale and exhale. One more breath there. And then we're just going to transfer as we breathe in the weight now over onto the palms. So making the arms nice and strong, coming over onto tippy toes, taking the legs a little bit out. We're just going to come into a plank, pushing through the heels, shoulders stacked over the wrist, belly pulling in towards the spine. Taking a breath there. And then slowly taking the bottom up towards the ceiling, back into downward dog. One more plank, coming over onto tippy toes, rolling over onto the tops of the feet, taking the pelvis all the way down. We'll come into an upward facing dog, and then curling the toes back into downward facing dog. Nice deep breaths there. Then the right leg, being aware of the right foot, take that over to the left side of the mat, the left foot over to the right. So we're going to crisscross as we come all the way up to the top of the mat. Just staying in a forward fold, so the toes are parallel, the feet a little bit apart. Generous bend into the knees. And taking hold of the opposite elbow. And gently just maybe swinging from side to side. That swing, I use that term loosely, it's more of a gentle movement. As you inhale, feeling the chest expand. Exhale, feeling the shoulders being heavy, the head is heavy, the arms are heavy, gravity's pulling you towards the floor, feeling a sense of release. One more breath there. Inhale. Again, expansiveness in the chest. Exhale. And releasing the arms. Bringing the hands down onto the floor, just in front of the feet. Generous bend in the knees if you need them. And I just would invite you now just to rock up onto the tippy toes. And then back onto the heels, pulling the toes towards
the shins, feeling a stretch there in the calves. Again, stretching the feet, coming onto tippy toes, and then back onto the heels. I'm going to slowly stack the spine now. So as we inhale, gently begin to rise. The arms heavy, head heavy, shoulders heavy. Slowly coming up into a standing, rolling the shoulders if you need to. I need to take my jumper off because it seems to be getting in the way. So making any adjustments that you need in the shoulders. I'm actually going to stand this side, but you guys stay where you are. So we're going to come just in for a lateral stretch now, quick lateral stretch. I'll come to the front so you can see me. So the right arm bringing onto the right shoulder, the toes are parallel, feet a little bit apart. Inhale, bringing the elbow up towards the ceiling, gently stretching down the other side. And then when you feel that you're at your point, taking the arm over the head. And the way to tell if you're at your point is to whether you can still keep control of the breath. So if the tendency is to want to hold the breath, or the breath is laboured in any way, shape or form, you probably want to just come back up a notch or two. So stretching through the hand, shoulder hopefully is plugged in where it's supposed to, so the shoulder's not rolling forward, not too far back. Turning the palm, coming all the way up to a standing, over to the other side. Bringing the hand now on there, coming up. Stretching the arm gently over, feeling a stretch there in the side, quite an intense stretch. Taking the gaze up to the ceiling, or having it just in front. Turning the palm now, bringing the hand back and slowly coming back up to a standing. Feeling free just to roll, shake, rattle, whatever is needed this morning. So just coming into Tadasana, squishing the toes into the mat. Maybe just rolling gently the feet from side to side. Lifting the toes towards the shins. And then squeezing the toes together. And then coming on to tiptoes, back onto the heels. Lifting one foot, toes up, then the other side. I'm just finding some stillness now, so not locking the knees are not locked. Taking the shoulders up to the ears, roll the shoulder blades down the back. And we'll begin with some sun salutations. The classic sun salutations to start with, then we'll go into Surya Namaskar A and maybe Surya Namaskar B. Let's see how we go. So we'll do all three to start with. Not at the same time, obviously. So we inhale. Exhale, bringing the hands now to the heart center. Inhale, taking the arms up, slightly bending back. Exhale, arms reaching aligned with the ears, bending the knees, bringing the hands down, framing the feet now. Inhale, take the right leg back, right knee down, the gaze forward, slightly up, framing the left foot with the hands. Curl the toes, lift the knee, coming back now into a plank. Pulling the belly in towards the spine. Inhale. Exhale down to knees, chest, chin. Slowly coming forward, can be a baby cobra to start with. Curl the toes either back onto the knees or back into a downward dog. Inhale, the right leg comes up to the front of the mat, the left knee comes down, look forward and up. Curl the toes, lift the knee, bringing both feet together, folding forward, arms out, up, bending back, hands to the heart center. Left side, inhale, exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, taking the hands up, slightly bending back. Exhale, coming forward. Forward fold. Inhale, left leg back, left knee down, look forward and up. Curl the toes, lift the knee, coming back now into a plank. Inhale. Exhale down to knees, chest and chin, slowly coming forward on the inhale into cobra, coming back now into downward dog. Inhale, left leg up to the front of the mat, right knee down, looking forward and up. Curl the toes, lift the knee, folding forward. Arms aligned with the ears, tailbone pointing down, lifting the toes, coming up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Right side, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Coming up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale. Right leg back, right knee down, look forward and up. Curling the toes back into a plank. Inhale, exhale, knees, chest and chin coming forward into cobra. Back into downward dog. Inhale, right leg up, left leg down, looking forward and up. Curl the toes, lift the knee. Both feet together, folding forward, arms stretching out and back. Hands to heart center on the exhale. Carrying on, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Coming up, exhale. Coming forward. Inhale, left leg back, left knee down, looking forward and up. Curl the toes, lift the knee, coming back now into a plank. Inhale, exhale down to knees, chest and chin. Slowly coming forward, back into downward dog. Inhale, left leg up to the front of the mat, right knee down, looking forward and up. Curl the toes, both feet forward, folding forward, forehead towards the knees and then coming up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Just pause momentarily, closing the eyes. Thumbs lightly touching onto the chest. Maybe feeling the heart beating now, the energy going through the body. Pulsating. You're alive. Everything waking up now. So we do one more round, but we're just going to add on some variations coming in. One of them will be a side plank, which the option would be to drop to the knee. So we'll just start into Tadasana. As we inhale, exhale, the hands come to the heart center. Inhale, taking the arms up and back. Exhale, we come forward. So inhale, the right leg comes back, the right knee comes down. We'll just pause there for a moment. Just taking a breath. Then we curl the toes, lift the knee. The right hand bringing in towards the inside edge of the left foot. And then we'll slowly start to turn, bringing the left arm up, fingers pointing up to the ceiling. So you're pushing into the floor with the left foot, activating that those leg muscles, pushing away with the heel. Take a deep breath, taking the breath all the way to the fingertips. Exhale down. And then we'll come up to the other side. So bringing the arm up towards the ceiling. Take the breath all the way to the fingertips and exhale down. Now coming back into a plank, making sure the shoulders are over the wrists. We're just going to roll to the outside edges there, one side and then to the other. And then taking the right arm, placing that into the middle of the mat, so the shoulder is stacked over the wrist, turning over, coming up now into a side plank. Take the gaze to the hand that's extended. Inhale, exhale, all the way down. Bringing the hand now into the opposite arm, into the center, coming up to a side plank, the other side. Taking the breath all the way to the fingertips, exhale, coming down. Checking the alignment with the shoulders over the wrists. As we inhale, either coming down to knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga, your choice. Slowly coming up, either into upward facing dog or cobra. Turning back now into downward facing dog. Pausing for one round of breath in downward facing dog. And then taking the right leg up to the front, the left knee comes down. We're going to come up now into a low lunge. Just watch the tracking of that foot. And maybe sinking the hip down a little bit. We'll bring the arms up. So the palms are facing in. Just aligning with the ears. Taking a breath there. And then maybe just taking the wrist just a little bit further away, taking the gaze up, having a slight bend back. Keeping the breath slow and steady. Inhale. Exhale, bringing the hands down, framing the feet, curling the toes, lifting the feet, coming back, both feet together, folding forward, coming up and back, hands to heart center. Left side, same principle, same thing. Inhale, exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, taking the arms up and back. Exhale, coming forward now. So inhale, the left leg back, left knee down, looking forward and up, just pausing there for a moment. Just establishing the breath, curl the toes, lift the knee, bring the left hand into the right, inside edge of the right foot, and then slowly pushing in with that front leg, out with the back heel, arm coming up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, send the breath all the way to the fingertips, and then exhale down, going over to the opposite side, bringing the arm up. Breath all the way to the fingertips, exhaling down. So stepping back now into a plank. Again, just checking the alignment, just rolling onto the outside edges of the feet. And then taking the left arm, bringing the left arm into the center of the mat, rolling up, right arm coming up, coming into a side plank the other side. Maybe take the gaze up to the hand. And then slowly coming down over to the other side. Coming up into a plank. The option there to drop the knee if you need to. And then coming all the way down. Again, just adjusting your alignment. Coming either knees, chest and chin, or slowly lowering down into chaturanga. Pausing maybe before hitting the floor. Coming up into an upward facing dog or cobra. Coming back into a downward facing dog. Left leg coming up to the front of the mat, right knee down, lifting up into a low lunge, sinking the hips a little bit, just watch the tracking of that knee. Inhale, let it go. Then maybe taking the arms back a little bit. I can't believe I just said let it go. So squeezing the thighs, helping just to keep you stable. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, bringing the hands now down, framing the feet, lifting that leg, both feet together, folding forward, arms out, coming up. Exhale, the hands to heart center again, pausing a moment or two. Awesome. So coming into Surya Namaskar A, having a moment just to feel, move however you want before establishing ourselves in Tadasana. So inhale, the arms come out to the side, all the way up. Exhale, we swan dive down. Inhale, half lift. We can bring the hands onto the shins, take the gaze forward, sitting bones sticking out. Exhale, coming back into a plank. Chaturanga or knees, chest and chin, your choice. Either lowering down and up to upward facing dog or cobra. Curling the toes back into downward facing dog. So pausing for one round of breath. In downward facing dog, and then stepping or jumping up to the front of the mat, folding forward. Coming up for a half lift, looking forward, exhale. Arms out to the side, coming up. Exhale, the hands to the heart center. One more time, inhale. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, stepping back into a plank, pulling the belly in towards the spine. Exhale, down to chaturanga or knees, chest and chin, coming up, upward facing dog, curling the toes, downward facing dog. Pausing for one round of breath there. And then stepping up to the top of the mat, coming into a half lift, then folding forward, arms out to the side, reverse swan dive, coming up. Reaching up, hands now to the heart center. Carrying on now with a chair pose to come into Surya Namaskar B. So bending the knees, swooping the arms, coming up, inhale, exhale, we swan dive down. Inhale, half lift, exhale, stepping back to plank, chaturanga, or knees, chest and chin, coming up, upward facing dog or cobra, downward facing dog. So inhale, the right leg comes up behind into three-legged dog. Exhale, stepping through to the front of the mat, curling the back toes. We'll come up now into a high lunge. Just finding your stability there, watching the tracking of that knee. Couple of breaths there. And then as we inhale, we're going to transfer the weight now onto the right leg. So coming up, lifting the left leg behind, bringing the hands now down onto the floor and just stretching out the left leg behind. We'll just come into a standing split. Couple of breaths there, then inhale. Nice strong right leg lifting up, trying to keep that left leg off the floor, so bringing the knee in towards the chest, flexing the foot, pausing there. Couple of breaths. You could let go, maybe take the hands out to the side. And then bringing the hands into the center of the chest, we're going to swoop that leg back, coming in now to a warrior three. So taking the leg slowly out behind. You can keep the hands into the chest or take the arms behind into airplane mode. And then slowly coming back up. Give that leg a shake if it feels a bit tired. And we'll come into Surya Namaskar B, the other side. So inhale, bending the legs, arms up, exhale, folding forward. Inhale, coming forward, exhale, back into a plank. Coming down, chaturanga or knees, chest and chin, forward, upward facing dog or cobra, coming back into downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up behind. Exhale, bringing that through to the front, bending the toes, coming into a high lunge. Again, establishing the breath. A couple of breaths. Squeezing the thighs, the legs are nice and active. Then transferring the weight, bringing the arms down onto the left leg, bringing the hands down. We'll come into standing splits the other side. So keeping the neck nice and relaxed. You can have a bend in the standing leg, quite a generous bend. And then inhale. Swooping that leg forward, coming up. Woo, I'm wobbly. Bringing the knee in towards the chest. Keeping the toes flexed. Squeezing that in. Taking the hands out to the side. And then bringing the hands into the heart center. Swooping that leg out behind. We'll come into warrior three, the other side. And then taking the arms behind into airplane. And I'm wobbly, wobbly, wobbly. And then, woo! Slowly coming back up and down. Shaking that leg. So my left side's my wobbly side today. I wonder what yours is, if you have one. Okay. So we inhale, we take the arms out, reach them up, stretching up to the ceiling. Exhale, bringing the hands behind us now, interlace the fingers, and we're going to fold forward. Inhale, swooping the arms. We're going to come back up into a chair pose. So the feet a little bit apart, and just make sure the toes are parallel. The arms can either be in front or all the way up as we inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart center, taking the left elbow over onto the right thigh. We'll just come in for a twist. So the head can be looking forward, or you can take the gaze up to the ceiling. Feeling free just to stay there, stacking the shoulders over each other, or you can bring the left hand down to the floor and the right arm up towards the ceiling. And then slowly bringing the hands together, coming back up into a chair pose. Now you're going to just see my back, apologies. Coming down now to the other side. So stacking the shoulders over, hands in the prayer position, pushing in. So either staying there with the hands as kind of ledge, or bringing the right hand down to the floor, taking the left hand up towards the ceiling. One more breath. As we inhale, coming back up now into chair pose. Inhale, and as you exhale, see if you can sink down a little bit more. And then on the inhale, coming up, releasing the arms, and shake those legs, baby. Because I bet they're tired. Because mine are. Okay, we'll come down to a seated position now. In fact, we'll stay with the legs out in front, so the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Feeling the sitting bones into the floor, taking the fleshy bit away. We'll just come into a forward fold now. So having a bend in the knees. If you feel particularly tight in your hamstrings. So we'll inhale, we'll take the arms up, take the gaze up. Exhale. Begin to hinge at the hips. So what's more important is to lean with the chest. See, the tendency is to want to do this because look, I can touch my toes. But we're actually wanting to keep the integrity. So it doesn't matter how far down your arms come. You could be there, it could look like that. That's absolutely fine. So inhale again, feeling like the spine is lengthening. Exhale. So the exhale is where it's going to lead you to where you need to be. You can take the head now down towards the knees. As you inhale again, exhale. Keeping the breath slow, using the exhale to soften down. And then on the inhale, taking the arms out, stretching the arms, really pulling the toes towards the shins. Now stretching those toes, activating the legs, pulling the belly in, coming up. Exhale, the hands come down to the side. Shake the legs. Taking the hands now behind. The fingers can point towards the bottom or away from the bottom, depending on how you're feeling. And what your shoulders are like. So we'll start with reverse tabletop. So bending the knees, making sure the toes are parallel, the feet are about hip width apart. As we inhale, we're just going to lift the pelvis up, pushing in through the hands and the feet. Maybe taking the feet out straight. Or if you're feeling that you're bowing down and it's a real effort, just come back up into reverse tabletop. So wherever you are, just taking one more breath in and then exhale, bringing the bottom down. So bringing the heels together now. Maybe lifting the pelvis so the pubic bone comes towards the heels some more. Taking the hands, placing them on the fingers, just gently bringing the knees up and down into our butterfly. And then finding some stillness, rooting through the sitting bones as you inhale. And then exhale, coming forward again. And it might not be for very far, for very long. So inhale, lengthening. Exhale, softening. And then gently coming back up, taking the legs out, giving them a shake. And then coming onto the belly. Just do some back bends now. So bringing the forearms so the elbows are into the chest, the forehead down onto the mat, the tops of the feet flat onto the floor. Just be careful of the knees. As we inhale, pushing in through the forearms, coming up into Sphinx pose. So keeping the shoulders away from the ears, so you can move the neck, taking a breath or two there. One more inhale, and then exhale, slowly coming down. Taking the arms out to the outside of the mat, palms flat on the floor. As we inhale, start to lift up the chest. Take the gaze, exhale, coming down. Spidering the fingers now, inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. Then bringing the hands so they're aligned to the chest, the elbows tucking them into the body as we inhale, pushing in through the hands, elbows into the body, coming up. So the arms are still bent and the glutes and the leg muscles relaxed. So the head you can move, maybe take it over one shoulder or the other. Just looking over the shoulder. Keeping the breath slow and steady. And then with the exhale, slowly lowering down, make a pillow for the head. Big toes touching, heels out to the side. Just pausing for a moment or two. Breath slow and steady. Okay, straightening the legs so the tops of the feet are on the floor. We'll bring the hands down to the side, the palms facing up pointing towards the toes. We're just going to come into locust pose now. So as we inhale, lifting the head, lifting the legs, arms into airplane arms. Trying to keep the breath there. Still slow and steady, reaching through the fingers, reaching through the toes. And then gently release, making a pillow for the head. Big toes touching, heels out to the side. So pushing up onto the hands, we're going to just transfer, coming over onto the bottom now. So we're going to come and lie down because we're going to get ready now for Shavasana, but we have one more movement to bring in. So with the knees bent, hands just below the knees, you can just massage the lower part of the back by rocking the knees from side to side. And then coming to some stillness, we'll take the arms out to the side, palms facing down. So the right knees, we're just going to lower slowly down towards the right side. You can bend or have one of the legs straight, whatever feels comfortable. Maybe moving that hip, so you're just stacking the hips over each other, trying to keep both shoulder blades onto the floor. And then taking the gaze over to the opposite hand. So we have a spiral going on with the spine. And with the exhale, just softening through the body. And then gently bringing the head, the knees up. Slowly taking them down towards the other side. Again, just stacking the hips over each other if you need to, taking the gaze over to the opposite way. And then very slowly bringing the knees back up. And now the opportunity just to do any movement that you feel might serve you before we come into a final Shavasana. And getting ready for Shavasana. So lying on the back, arms by the side, or having the hands gently on the belly. The legs just a little bit apart, the feet, toes pointing out to the side, just naturally letting everything rest.
And we'll just bring the awareness now onto the breath. So just observing the chest and the different shapes of the body as the breath comes in. And then as you exhale. This time take a cleansing breath in. And as you exhale, let out a sigh. One more inhale. And exhale. And then releasing control of the breath. Take the awareness onto the toes, the feet and the ankles. And the invitation to relax. Coming up onto the shins, the knees and the thighs. Relax onto the pelvis, the belly, the chest, the shoulders, the arms travelling down all the way to the hands and the fingers. Travelling back up onto the neck, the chin, the cheeks, the forehead, top of the head, back of the head, the whole of the back of the spine, the buttocks, down the backs of the legs to the heels. Nothing to do except breathe. So I'm going to actually invite you now to stay in Shavasana for as long as you need. Feeling free just to enjoy the stillness and hopefully the peace. Namaste.